people are given ranks in this world according to their recorded accomplishments. Tohru, our main character, is a D-rank individual who conceals his abilities to blend in with his parents, prior to being targeted and dying in a car accident. They were S ranks. He's your typical beta guy. All he does is study because the government decided to cover his expenses until he turned 18. His secret is that he frequently dreams of a young girl. However, in his dream, the young child appears to recognize him, runs in his direction, but misses him because the FBI is keeping an eye on him. They shoot him from behind. In the year 2115, society has made great strides, and today, megacorporations rule the globe. There is a wealth of technology, from levitating cars to apartments with robot assistants. Everything is normal until one day, when Tohru finds himself suddenly transported to the year 2015 while pursuing a mysterious girl who has been appearing in his dreams. Along with him, he is transported into the same world with his friend and potential wife Kyoka. The two investigate after becoming confused and discover a dead man on the floor below. Then, Tohru notices the ground trembling and realizes there has been an explosion. They pull their weapons out as a result, but they are immediately fired upon. The two friends attempt to flee a mysterious man who appears and continues to shoot them. Tohru confronts the mysterious gunner because Kyoka is slightly injured. However, Kyoka is adamant on accompanying him, so the two engage the gunner in a paintball duel while dodging the bullets like characters from The Matrix. But as she takes a step back, Kyoka trips and the gunner saves her. The most perplexing experience of Tohru's life awaits him when he realizes that the gunner resembles him but has a different hairstyle. Tohru, the gunner says, is his name, but let's call him Chad for now. After introducing himself, he shoots Tohru right away, but thanks to the Matrix's strength, Tohru easily avoids the bullet and flees in confusion. While Chad dips, Ramai appears and uses his psychic abilities to save Kyoka. In 2015 Japan, Ramai gives them a brief tour before returning to the lab. Tohru, however, notices the young girl asking him to help him once more, and like any other normal person, he collapses. In a unique lab, Tohru awakens a short while later. He is present in 2115. However, he has been called, so he goes to the meeting space with the android Sai. They encounter Dr. Brian Odner inside the lab. He welcomes Kyoka and Tohru to their research facility for the enormous supercorp that controls the majority of the global economy. Dr. Brian gives them a briefing on their circumstances, explaining that they are essentially engaged in a battle with themselves to save the world. Kyoka's older brother, Kyoma, shows up and provides more details. He is the Katajiri group's leader, in charge of overseeing everything and organizing the conflict with their parallel counterparts. The world is ending, said omnipotent godlike beings known as the Timekeepers to Brian and a select few 2 years ago. They were given a time limit by these timekeepers. The Desert Syndrome is a global phenomenon that transforms everyone into Anakin Skywalker's worst nightmare, sand. One of the warning signs that the world is about to end. But this phenomenon is well covered up thanks to Kyoma and a few other people. These events were kept secret from the public because the timekeepers provided them with information on who would pass away, complete with an accurate time and date of death. But it goes beyond that. The timekeeper promised to give them a chance and provided humanity with the means to save the planet. Therefore, in a matter of months, mankind developed a time machine that would allow them to destroy their counterparts in the past by going back 100 years. The name of this technology is Energy Cube. It is essentially a beacon block from Minecraft, except that you can feed your own weapons with them to improve your fighting skills. You gain style points because it transforms and glows, which is awesome, but it's not necessary to save the world. Kyoka and Tohru are not required to take part. However, if they do, they will receive these awesome suitcases, which they can use whenever they choose. Tohru, however, is not the kind of person who would kill one person in order to save another, until he encounters their teacher, who is also one of the players on Earth 1 trying to survive. Tohru, in Olga's opinion, is reluctant to fight for Earth 1's survival. She uses live footage of someone turning into sand instead of encouraging words like a typical teacher to persuade Tohru to support the cause. Surprise, it wasn't successful. Out of nowhere, a combat maid attacks Olga and captures Tohru. She introduces herself as Sijun and says that she is Kyoma's attendant. Sijun commands Tohru to keep an eye on Kyoka because it is her moral obligation to defend Kyoma at all costs. She says Kyoma is the one who thought up the lab and everything else. Sijun informs Tohru that Kyoma regularly attacks him but does so for Kyoka's benefit. Although he overprotects his siblings, he has good intentions. Tohru eventually makes it to the location where she first encounters the enigmatic girl. Finally, he makes the decision to take up arms. The following day, Kyoma takes Tohru to the lab and informs him of his plan. He then inquires as to Tohru's motivation for finally engaging in combat. Tohru says he was asked for assistance by a mysterious little girl, and he now wants to know more about her. Tohru is directed to the training area to gain more knowledge about how this intricate, end-of-the-world event operates. Then, he receives a call from Kyoma informing him that the object he had just seen is known as a ghost. These horrifying figures reportedly appear on the battlefield. He is told by Kyoma that until Tohru encountered one, he had never seen a clear representation of these ghosts. Tohru goes to the training center to learn how to use his new powers. During his training, he discovers he has a special ability, slow motion. In addition, he can manipulate gravity for some quick movements and aerial travel. They are stopped midway through the training by an emergency broadcast. To resume fighting, they will now have to warp back to Shibuya, Japan. When Kyoka meets Kyoka 2, he or she acknowledges that there are duplicates of them all over the place. Tohru tells Kyoma that he believes the ghost is there and must investigate while drawing the enemy's fire. This strategy has a huge flaw. Even so, Kyoma gives him the go-ahead to investigate it, and they are now changing battle formations. They engage the enemy to take cover after meeting Kyoka 1 and Sejun, but they are vastly outnumbered. Tohru locates the ghost girl in the meantime and protects her from the crows. The girl tells him a cryptic phrase, "The future hasn't been determined yet," and cautions him to be careful because the time will soon run out. Tohru arrives for their meeting, but he must get his struggling team some help. Kyoma's energy field is about to be destroyed after taking a lot of damage. A beam fired by Chad intended to kill Kyoma instead hit Sejun, giving her a donut no one will soon forget. However, Kyoma 2 was killed by a grenade that Sejun was carrying. The group retreats, sobbing like a small child over what transpired. Tohru holds himself responsible for abandoning Kyoma and the others to fight. However, Kyoma tells him it's his fault because he permitted him to investigate it, giving Tohru a good one for being a depressed kid. But hey, they received a cube as compensation. I suppose the donutification was somewhat worthwhile. Kyoka pays Tohru a visit that evening and discusses what happened earlier. Tohru is motivated to win so that no one would perish by Sejun's passing. However, just as they are about to make it official, the Timekeepers ruin Tohru's fun by switching to an objective team deathmatch from a free-for-all. They will receive 5 times the rewards if they can complete the task before anyone else. Tohru and Kyoma come to terms with having each other's back whenever possible and achieving victory without suffering any casualties thanks to his newly discovered resolve brought on by loss. They immediately return to their positions to push for the goal after being dropped. Tohru is instructed to wait while their team performs the distraction so he can flank rush the target. He receives the start signal a short while later. Tohru pursues Chad as he makes his way toward the top of Tokyo Tower, impeding his progress. But they both arrive at the target simultaneously. One of the Timekeepers eventually shows up and congratulates them on qualifying after a brief duel. Tohru is agitated by the Timekeeper's assumption of Sejun's form. The Timekeeper, however, diffuses the conflict by stating that she used Sejun's form to communicate effectively. She then rewards them both with the cubes and tells them that they were sent from the future to save them. When Chad asks her why the Timekeepers are letting them fight when they originally intended to save them, she replies that it's to reduce the number of casualties. 10 years from now, in 2115, they will be able to build a time warp technology, a seamless space-time bridge between the two worlds thanks to advancements in technology in both places. The result of this will be a war between the two worlds that will result in their destruction. To save a few billion lives, they decide that the best course of action is to send a few adults who have the ability to travel through time and a few high school students to their deaths. Due to the fact that human history keeps repeating itself, Chad concurs that this is a precipice. He merely rejects the efficacy of talk no jutsu and friendship. The Timekeeper tells them that degradation is one of the outcomes of this post-apocalyptic chaos, which only deepens their despair. They simply need to destroy their adversaries before they can also destroy them in order to stop that from happening. In this game of survival, the Timekeepers merely serve as judges. When Tohru hears all the Timekeepers' nonsense, he tries to be diplomatic, but informs them that nothing is set in stone just yet. Chad, however, chooses to be aggressive and starts a fight, which prompts the Timekeeper to send them into a parallel universe. In Chad's native world of Frontier Stratos, Tohru awakens. There, Kyoka 2 shows him around Bastion, their base. In this world, most human civilizations have been reduced to ruins, and people are struggling to survive, while everyone in Tohru's homeworld enjoys a high standard of living. This is not the case in Frontier as Tohru travels with Kyoka 2 to the grave of Ramai 2. She claims that Ramai 2 was adopted by Chad along with all the other war orphans, using Bastion as their haven. Chad, however, underwent a radical change after losing Ramai 2, going to great lengths to ensure everyone survived. Less brutal than Tohru's techniques, but similar. When Tohru learns about Kyoka 2's situation, she consoles her and tells her everything Chad would like her to hear. Kyoka 2 is awestruck by Tohru's unspoken charisma and wonders if she might be cheating on Chad. However, their conversation is interrupted when the base returns Tohru to his world. When Tohru enters the lab, she runs into Chad and deflects the projectile he just fired. Kyoka is hurt when the bullet strikes her, though. This serves as a diversion for Chad as he seeks to reach his home planet. The following day, World 1 and World 2 fight once more. Ramai uses an energy cube this time, forcing himself to gain strength. He gets so powerful that it works against him, making him feel less than great and changing into a Darude sandstorm. Tohru is trapped inside the storm because of his memories of his childhood, adolescence, and eventually a fever dream in which the Timekeeper is holding him captive. However, Tohru is taken to the mysterious girl's pocket dimension after touching the same message from the mysterious girl. This time, the FBI is not present. The girl tells the truth about the dead end, which is where humanity will ultimately perish. She claims that a mysterious space drifting particle was discovered by humanity and later transformed into energy cubes. The military produced the cubes in large quantities and used time warp technology to invade other planets. Dead End was used in the girl's world, but it turned everyone into sand. And the people who had once been sucked up by the Dead End came together to form a hive mind known as the Timekeepers. When Tohru queries why they went back to the past, the Timekeeper opens their pocket dimension. She claims it was done to defend humanity. However, it was done to ruin them. The Timekeepers believe that by intervening, humanity will be kept in a false utopian world where it will find eternal peace. The girl instructs Tohru on what to do after sending the Timekeeper outside of her realm. They can change the predetermined future associated with the Timekeepers by using the girl's power. The girl asks him to give her a name after merging his energy cube with her power. Then, she vanishes. She responds that they will meet again in the future and he calls her Mickey. Tohru emerges from the sandstorm and orders everyone to put an end to their fighting because they now face a greater issue. In light of what transpired during the sandstorm, Worlds 1 and 2 decide to work together and declare a temporary ceasefire. Ramai, who is at the center of the sandstorm, is what they want to take care of. Tohru 1 battles his way past swarms of Zai-like androids emerging from Ramai's sandstorms. Ramai's parental android guardian, Zai, leaps into action and gives her life to save her charges. Tohru fires the decisive shot, sparing Ramai's life. Tohru is alerted by the Timekeeper that his actions could end their world sooner than expected when he first appears. Dr. Brian then deserts them. He apparently conspired with Dr. Brian too, his alternate self, to capture and confine all time travelers because they believe they are better able to do it. They want to use the energy cubes to advance technology so that humanity can compete with the Timekeepers on an equal footing. Additionally, this boomer nerd doesn't want Kyoma to rule over him like a domineering dog on a leash. Tohru is set free from his prison by Brian's secretary Kumi in order to free the other time travelers. He also discovers that Doc Brian is just a young child seeking attention. Time travelers must be captured by Brian's soldiers, whether they are alive or not. Fortunately, Tohru makes it to the hospitalized Kyoka just in time. Following Brian's treachery, World 1 organizes a defense against Brian and the Timekeepers. Tohru learns more about the mysterious girl's past as a head scientist while she is sleeping and receives her memories. The demise of humanity was caused by her research. Tohru and Kyoka show up in her dreams to cheer her up when she is feeling hopeless. She then directs their attention to the tree where they first met her, which is where it all began. The following day, World 1 gathers their team to complete their strategy, but Tohru and Kyoka go on a date ahead of the decisive battle. When their mission begins, Olga immediately attacks Brian and murders him. Similar to this, Chad murders Brian too in World 2. The group arrives at the location and learns that it doubles as a time machine. In any case, they dive in, hoping for the best. The group arrives, and the decisive conflict starts. However, to open a portal into the realm of the Timekeeper, World 1 constructs a David Starfield rather than engaging World 2 head-on. In order to finally kill the people who forced them to kill each other in the first place, Tohru persuades Chad to assist him in opening a portal. The dimension of the Timekeeper is opened. However, this shaky gate can only be entered by Tohru 1 and 2. The Timekeeper tries to dupe them into accepting her solution inside. However, it is not very efficient. The Tohrus take on the full force of the Timekeeper's army with their combined power. Chad shows up to deal the killing blow after Tohru shoots the Timekeeper, but the struggle continues. Chad is still eager to wage war against the world of Tohru. The two engage in a brutal duel with no holds barred as a result. However, their waifus show up to save them just as Chad is about to kill Tohru. With this opportunity, Tohru neutralizes Chad. He is to be shot, according to Chad. Tohru, however, shoots the energy cube that is keeping them there, ultimately demolishing the bridge between the two worlds and putting an end to the conflict. Back in their past, we learn that Tohru is an elderly man who married Kyoka and later rose to the position of world leader. He is back together with Mickey, who addresses him as Grandpa. For more anime recap, click here to subscribe and watch more. Thanks for watching.